It's a little bit rainy, a little bit hairy out there. But you know what? We're here, and we're ready to have some fun. Hopefully the Blazers can continue their winning ways and continue to hold on to hope of getting into the play-in because, oh, my goodness, it is right there, absolutely. The Blazers sitting here with, 10, 11 games left, and you're sitting there going, you have a realistic chance of getting into the play-in. Who saw that coming? Who saw that coming? But you really do. And part of that is because they had an incredible victory just a few nights ago against the Denver Nuggets in a game where you're like, okay, things are getting weird. Things are getting weird because first off, Denver doesn't have Nikola Jokic in this one. You had Jamal Murray, who was a game-time decision. You're like, what's going on? No, Nikola Jokic means Aaron Gordon's going to get the start at center. Okay, things are looking up. Maybe we can take advantage of this team without, the one of the world's greatest players in the lineup. And then the illness. The bug, not the injury bug, just the sickness bug hit the Portland locker room, and then next thing you know, Anthony Simons is out due to an illness. Donovan Clingan, who was about to have a day where he could feast because there was no Nikola Jokic, he's out as well, and you have this weird situation where the starting lineup is Scoot, Shea, Tumani, Chris, and Denny Avdia. The lineup has Tumani Kamara listed as your starting center, and you're like, oh my goodness, what is this? This is absolutely wild. But you know what? The Blazers, they took care of it in this one. It was 30-30 after the first quarter. The Nuggets outscored the Blazers 29-24 in the second. But then in the second half, the Blazers really poured it on. They outscored the Nuggets 34-23 in the third, and they outscored the Nuggets 40-27 in the fourth to grab the 128-109 victory. And again, hold on to hopes of getting into the play-in. They are sitting in a very good spot right now, sitting just 2 games back of Phoenix and Dallas. Dallas continues to tumble a little bit as they deal with injuries, though they are in a 1-game win streak. Phoenix has won 3 in a row. Maybe they're putting it together, but they're still at 34-37. And as we've talked about down the stretch, Phoenix has perhaps the toughest schedule of any team remaining. They still got games against the Celtics and the Cavs, just like Portland does, but multiple games. I mean, they only play one team that's out of the playoff race currently, and that is San Antonio, who's technically not even out of it. They're just 3 games back. But that's the only team on the lineup for us away for Phoenix that is not currently a playoff team. So, yeah, they got a tough schedule. But Portland is taking care of business, too. I mean, you looked at the way this homestand was. You're like, okay, they got to win some of these winnable games. Maybe they get one of these games against these tough teams because they still got what? Oh, tonight against Boston. They still got Cleveland, still got OKC. Like, they still got tough games here. But they got one against Denver, and that was huge. It was an absolutely huge victory. Taking a look at the box score, I'm going to do on-air producing here. Brendan, get ready, because I'm going to bring you in a second. You were covering that game, so I'm going to bring you in after I'm done with the box score here. But looking at the Denver side of things, Christian Brownie had 15 points, 5 rebounds, 17 points for Michael Porter Jr., 23 points to lead the Nuggets was Aaron Gordon. He also had 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 points from Jamal Murray, 18 points from Russell Westbrook off of the bench. Peyton Watson chipped in 12 as well. On the Blazers side of things, Chris Murray, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Just, nothing to write home about, but he does do a great job getting in there, getting in the starting lineup, doing what coach needs him to do. Tumani Kamara, playing the center spot, gets 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. 23 points from Shaedon Sharpe, which you love to see when he can actually get the shot to fall. Scoot Henderson, 16 points, 5 assists. Did have 5 turnovers, so that's the bad. Dwap Reith, 12 points off the bench. Delano Banton, 19 points, 5 assists off the bench. And then, of course, Denny Avdia, another absolutely stellar game. 36 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and a blocked shot. So a great game from Denny Avdia, and he continues to play extremely well. Now, Kirk says the Celtics sitting the entire team. Let's go get the win. We'll see what the official lineup is. I know we've heard a couple rumblings here. We'll get an update here in just a second. We'll also get an update from Coach Billups here in just a few minutes as well, with the update on any health-related things and who will be in the lineup, who will be out of it. Again, you didn't have Anthony Simons, didn't have Donovan Clingan in that win against the Nuggets, which I think makes that win even better. sure, when you look at the fact that they beat the Nuggets, and yes, they didn't have Nikola Jokic, but they still had their main complement of players. We said this all year. Look at the young guys. The young guys took care of it. Well, again, the Blazers, they didn't have Jeremy Grant in this one. Obviously, D.A., who's been a key vet for them all year, isn't playing and might not play the rest of the year. So, again, your starting lineup was all guys who are young, many of whom are part of the future. I mean, Scoot, Shea, Tumani, Denny Avdia, 4 of your 5 starters, right? That's huge. Absolutely huge for them to go get that victory. All right, I want to bring in Brendan Slaughter now, super producer Brendan, who is also super fill-in host Brendan. You're taking my old role, Brendan. I feel like I was the fill-in host extraordinaire. Now you're the one that I got to call all the time. I'm like, Brendan, I got to be out in an OSAA championship. You think you can fill in for me? But what were your takeaways from this game?
Yeah, it's good to see you, Chris. I feel like you and I, or rather talk to you. I feel like you and I haven't chatted since OSAA, man. It's been a couple busy weeks and all that. But, yeah, appreciate the opportunity as always, brother. It was loads of fun. Bit of a weird game, right? I mean, you're talking the starting lineup, obviously, had Tumani Kamara at the center, and that kind of shows how thin Portland was at the front court. That was probably the weirdest sequence of the whole game, was Chauncey Billups figured out about 6 minutes into that first quarter, hey, probably should have went with Duop Reith at the center. That's why starting the second half, we saw Duop get the start, and they ended up, and things really seemed to kind of calm down once Duop got in there. But, Chris, for that first 7 minutes or so of the game, Michael Malone's plan was Aaron Gordon down low, Aaron Gordon down low. I think he had something like 10 or 11 free throw makes in this game. He got to the line way more than I thought. And then once Portland was kind of able to see that the Nuggets were not playing their best game either, as far as, having some pieces out, down the stretch, it really just looked like Portland wanted it more, particularly that fourth quarter, like the heart, the hustle. They were diving on the floor for plays and all that. It was a much-needed win, obviously, to keep pace in the standings, especially when, as you mentioned, Dallas and Phoenix got some wins. But nevertheless, it's nice to see them beat a team above them in the standings, regardless of who is on the court or not.
Absolutely, and as the YouTube commenters are pointing out, they're like, the Blazers won another game on a day that Brendan hosts. So here's the thing.
Well, we lost 2 in a row. I think we're at like 500.
Okay,
so
we're at like 500. Hey, that's still a better record.
We're like 500.
I think that's still a better record than me. We're gonna have to check records, and if you are the one who has the better winning record, then if the Blazers make the play, and I think I'm gonna have to bow out gracefully and let you host that show for the betterment of Rip City. But no, man, you did a wonderful job. I appreciate you filling in. And yeah, it was definitely a weird game. Any game you get Tumani Kamara as center, it's going to be a weird game. Now, people are talking about what tonight's going to bring. Is it going to be another weird game? And yeah, like I said, Jaylen Brown has been listed as out for this one as he's dealing with some nagging injuries. But the rest of the update is, again, Jaylen Brown out with the right knee posterior impingement. But Drew Holiday, right shoulder impingement, was listed as questionable on yesterday's injury report, so we'll see where that is today. We haven't seen the updated one yet. But Kristaps Porzingis also returned from illness reconditioning, questionable. Jason Tatum, right knee tendinopathy, questionable, and Xavier Tillman, left knee sprain. He is out. So we'll see an update on Holiday, Porzingis, and Tatum coming up. I mean, does this count as is this a return game? Is this like Drew Holiday comes back and the Blazer legend? No,
it's true.
Doesn't count. Doesn't count. No, well, but yeah, that's your latest lineup. And regardless, I mean, maybe Portland this is beneficial. They catch these guys. These teams who are in the playoff hunt, they tend to rest a little bit when they get to the end. I saw a stat earlier that for like the last 10 NBA champions, it's like their worst month winning percentage wise was March. And I think that's because you get into the we're sitting players, we're resting players, we're going to slow play this, get into the playoffs, which is all Celtics need to do. They're in. They just need to make sure that they get in healthy the rest of the way. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to head down to the Coach's Corner. We'll hear what Coach Billups has to say ahead of this game. Blazers versus Celtics. Westland's finest, Peyton Pritchard, in the house tonight. It's always fun to see him. Got a chance to cover his OSAA run, which was pretty incredible. So hopefully get to watch him, have some fun, and continue to break down this game. Don't go in here. Play more coming up here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Just waiting now for Coach Billups to head to the podium. And as soon as he does, we'll pod him up and we'll hear what he has to say. We'll get some updates on the lineup here as soon as we can. I know I was listed as questionable, old, threw my back out, man. I can barely move, but I'm here. I told Brendan I was afraid I was going to be late. It took me like 20 minutes to make the 5-minute walk from the parking lot to the security entrance. I had to stop a few times and just like hold onto the fence so I didn't fall over. Getting old, Brendan, let me tell you what. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I know. I still had to play Jungle Gym this morning, getting jumped on and stuff, but you know, is what it is. I know, and I had Tori in of Blazers Uprise, who did a wonderful job the other day. He's like, "You work for the OSAA too?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm just nonstop working. We're having fun, baby. We're having fun." But absolutely we are. Shout out to all our dance and drill championships who packed the Salem Pavilion yesterday. That was a lot of fun. So, all right, we're stalling. Got to wait till Coach gets up. What is it, Brendan? You do football too. Why do coaches always run behind? I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is, and the Blazers is always 45 minutes before tip kind of a thing. We know the timing, but I'm not sure if he's ever been there right at 15. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's like when you're doing football and you're like, hey, practice availability will be at 1:30, so you show up at 1, and then PR staff tells you like, yeah, it's probably going to be closer to 2.
So many times, man, so many times.
The things we do. Hey, Kirk, we actually were talking about you because I was like, yeah, the amount of I've seen a few people who watch both of us at the same time. He goes, so have I. Which is just funny. I was actually referring to you because I've seen your name pop up. Look at you. You love your Blazer content. We appreciate it. But you guys can go back and listen to that on the YouTube archive. It was a good interview we had for Courtside Monday with him. So we'll see what you guys can go listen to that. And, of course, we'll hear from Coach Billups here in just a few seconds. So interesting to see. Hopefully people are getting over it, man. There's been a bug going around town. I feel like everybody knows someone who's sick right now, Brendan. I'm getting over it. Everyone at the office was sick. I got Shacker's been under the weather for a minute. I think there's just something going around, man. So stay safe out there. Wash those hands, right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Wash those hands. Cough into the elbow, okay? Do whatever you need to do. That's another thing, Brendan, when you talk about getting old and having kids. That's the big life lesson, teaching them to cough into their elbow, right? Most time it's like, hey, Dad, right in your face. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, kid.
We all love the cuteness of little kids, man, but I always like to say, kids, they touch a lot of things. They like to then touch their mouth. That's a tough combination right there.
It is. But no, we'll see. And we still have to get a Celtics injury update. We'll see. Visiting coach will go after him. We'll do some updating, some digging, some sleuthing. See if we can get an injury update there for the Celtics as well. I mean, it's going to be big. If Porzingis and Tatum and Holiday don't play and Brown's already out, I mean, then the Blazers have to go in and take advantage, just like they did against the Denver Nuggets. It doesn't matter. You can sit there and you say all you want. The stars set, but you still got to take advantage of it, man. And we've seen this Blazer team, as we've talked about before, guys, the nights early in the season when the stars weren't here, when Ja wasn't playing for Memphis and Lowry wasn't playing for Utah, and you still got thumped. Just because the stars are out doesn't mean you're getting a guaranteed win. You got to show up, and the Blazers have been doing a good job of doing that lately. All right, let's head down to the press area here from Coach Billups.
I know. DC's good. Barry's good. Still waiting on Ant. He's feeling better though, but we'll see.
Rob Williams out with an injury. He's had a tough couple of years. How is he handling all of that, and just what has he meant to the locker room?
Yeah, it's been really, really tough. We all feel so bad for Rob. He worked his butt off this summer, to be ready, and he was. And obviously, anybody, when you see him play, he makes such an impact for our team. And then even just his voice in the locker room is really, really huge for us. So we've all been kind of down for Rob. He's had some tough breaks. But as you know, we all love him, just like you guys over there. You all love him. So it's been tough. He's handled it pretty well. To answer your question, he's done a pretty good job with it. But he does. He has some down days, as anybody would. But yeah, it's been a tough couple seasons for Rob.
And Peyton you're pretty close with him. How remarkable is this year? I mean, leading the charge for Sixth Man of the Year, and especially considering the rough time that he had a few years ago.
Yeah, I'm just so happy for him. Obviously I know this is a big year for him, and it's always a big game for him coming back home. But he's just been outstanding. He's just a tough joker, man. He can do it all. He can do it all on the offensive end, and he's very scrappy on the defensive end. So he makes up for his size, with how tough he is a lot of times. And obviously he had a big-time historic night against us last time we played in Boston. So I've just been happy for his success, him being able to do it on the biggest stage. He's a champion already early in his career. I mean, that's not a lot of people could say that. But he wasn't just rallying with a rally rag over there. He's out there balling, So I'm happy for Peyton. He's been great.
Chauncey, you said you guys are still trying to figure out what you can get out of Denny, how he can work with you guys, and just certain things you can exploit. With only a handful of games left, are there other things that you want to try to put him in a position to get a better understanding of what he can and can't do? He's had obviously some massive games, but the consistency just kind of seems to be there now.
Yeah, I think we all know what we can get out of him. I think, we're trying to push the limits, but he shows us new things all the time. We keep just trying to give him more and more responsibility to see where it can go. We'll see how it goes, but I just love his consistency right now on both sides of the ball. I know his rebounding and his playmaking. I love where it's headed. I love where it's going. But my responsibility is to do the same with other guys too. And you can only do so much with a guy. I want to see Shaden and Scoot keep developing, and DC, I want to keep pushing the limits there too. So, yeah, Denny's been great, and I think he'll continue to be that. But at the end of the day, I got to kind of do that with everybody.
Any other questions?
And there you hear from Coach Billups. The update there is that Donovan Clingan and Jabari Walker are a go tonight. Anthony Simons remains a game-time decision, so we'll see what happens there. But having DC back is huge. It means you don't have to play a guy who's been playing small forward all year at center. I mean, that's just wild when you think of the situation that they were in. Obviously, no DA, no Robert Williams, who you heard him talk about there in that press conference. No DC. Your only air quote center on the roster was Dwamp Reed, but he's also just a 6'9" center, so he's undersized for the position. Not a great rebounder, not a great paint defender, but kudos to him. He's actually been pretty decent on both those ends over the last few games, really hustling, which is exactly what Coach Billups likes and what Coach Billups wants. So you do got to give him credit there, but you didn't have a lot of options. You did not have a lot of options at all. So very interesting time. Still kind of crazy, though. They go in there with that lineup and they get the win over Denver. So hopefully you'll be able to piece it together tonight and get that win again. With the Celtics in town, you need it. Now, Peyton Pritchard, he will be playing tonight. You heard the reporter ask about him. Coach has a good relationship with him. He has been incredible, setting NBA record for most threes off the bench and is leading the way for Sixth Man of the Year. He's a career average 8.9 points per game, but he's averaging 14.1 this year, just statistically having a phenomenal year across the board. Career high 14.1. He's shooting 62% from the floor, 41% from beyond the arc. Like he's doing it all, man. He's 3.4 assists, tied for his career high. Also 0.9 steals, which is a career high. 2.4 defensive rebounds, 3.7 total rebounds, which is a career high. So a great performance all the way around from Peyton Pritchard. So watch out tonight. I mean, this is going to be a key to the game later too, but if you want to win this game, you got to make sure you lock up Peyton Pritchard. Shout out to Brendan for bringing this up a couple days ago when I was talking to him about Peyton Pritchard here. But Peyton Pritchard, as I said, he averages 8.9 points per game for his career. Venture to guess what team he averages the most against, though? The Portland Trail Blazers, where over 7 games he's averaged 16.7 points per game. Yeah.
So you're saying he takes these matchups personally, Chris?
I think he is the living embodiment of the Last of Us Jordan meme, right? And I took that personally. Like he takes these and not only is it, maybe you take it personal, whatever, but also, I mean, a chance to show out in front of your friends and family, who I'm sure will be in abundance in attendance tonight. Yeah, it tends to get you to play some good games. So yeah, you gotta make sure you got bottle him up tonight.
And I do have to ask you, Chris, just because you and I we weren't working together the night of the game, as a Duck fan, like, I can honestly say, Chris, like, I don't think I was truly familiar with Peyton's game. Like, I thought he could be a solid player, maybe end of the bench guy. I didn't, going into the NBA, obviously I'm very familiar with his game now. I didn't think he was quite this level. So I give him credit. That kid works harder than maybe anybody.
He absolutely does. He absolutely does. But I'm going to, as a Duck fan, too, I will fully admit that I was wrong. I didn't think his game was going to translate that well because I thought he was a below-average defender and slow by NBA standards. I think he's put a lot of work in on that end. I think he plays a faster game now than he did in college. Just built that strength up and doesn't, he's a little quicker, which has benefited him. But the thing with him, though, is if you can get on the floor, he has a shot that will travel anywhere, right? And so that shot's been huge for him, and I think that kept him on the floor, and it gave him time to work out all those other little things that were NBA level questionable, quite honestly. I mean, that's why he was kind of out of the rotation, and where was his future with Boston, right? Like, is they going to trade him? Are they going to do this? He wants to play, but they're not playing him. All this stuff. I think he's put that to rest because he's put in the work. That's one thing I don't think anyone who knows Peyton or has watched him through his time at Oregon, or for guys like I who watched him win multiple state championships at Wesleyan and had a front row seat to it, it's that no one was ever going to question his work ethic. And so once he got on the floor, he put that work in, man. And here he is. I mean, you have a point guard, too, that I think you could say the same thing. I don't think anybody, Oregon State fan who was wearing orange-colored glasses, thought that GP2 would still be in the league in 2025. No,
I mean,
right? So
it's a very, very apropos. We'll just forget the little stint Gary Payton had with the Trailblazers. Nothing to remember from that. But, I would agree because, like, I saw Gary as a dunker. And I'm like, how is a dunker who, and I really like Gary, but he's not the greatest three-point shooter, at least going into NBA. And for what it's worth, I think we found out, Chris, maybe he only fits with the Warriors. Like, Peyton, he might travel. I think Gary, we found out, is just a tremendous fit with the Warriors. But, no, I think that's a very apropos comparison for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Air Weldon says it's Wesleyan Youth Basketball Night today. Source, I run their website. So, okay, he knows.
See, that's some smart thinking right
there. There you go. And then Kirk says, rumor is that the best personal trainers in the state say that Peyton works out like Kobe level. I mean, hey, putting the Kobe stamp on him, that's some high ranking. I'll tell you this, though, like I said, I don't think going into the draft, like I said, for all the things he did poorly, nobody would have questioned Peyton Pritchard's work ethic. I mean, you don't luck into, 4 state championships and a run with the Ducks and getting drafted. Like, you don't luck into that, especially when you are, 6 foot on paper, but maybe not in real life. You know what I mean? Like, it's working against you by NBA standards. And so, yeah, his work ethic is incredible. So shout out to him. I know we sit here and this is a Blazer pregame show, but I do got to pub him a little bit because it's so cool to see. Same like when you had Drew Eubanks here. It's so cool to see guys who played their high school ball in this state, whether it was at Reynolds or whether it was at Wesleyan, right, and come out here and show out in the NBA. It's always cool. So I would love Peyton Pritchard to have a big game. I would just also love for the Blazers to win. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, it is time for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. Still got some keys to the games to get to, as well as it's Blazers versus Celtics tip-off in about an hour and a half right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Oregon high school kids in the NBA, because that was a topic we were talking about earlier, talking about Peyton Pritchard, and a comment on YouTube talking about Jackson Shellstad. And Shellstad's incredible, right? It's funny because some people want to poo-poo him, like, oh, he's not a star, he's not doing this. You look at his sophomore numbers right now. He was 13.4 points. He's shooting 37% from the field, or from three, excuse me. He's got 2.7 assists. You look at Peyton Pritchard, his sophomore year, 14.5, 4.8, so more assists, and he shot better from three, but it still wasn't like earth-shattering numbers. Peyton Pritchard didn't even kick off until his senior year. He had a downtick his junior year in points per game, and then his senior year, all of a sudden, almost 6 assists per game, 20.5 points, shot 41% from beyond the arc. Like sometimes these kids take time, man. Not everybody needs to be a Cooper Flag and just be great on day one. Some of them take time. That's part of the game, man. So people who are knocking Shellstad because he's having a so-so sophomore year, he's actually having a pretty good sophomore year, all things considered. Tell me you don't know ball. Now, interesting though, he's got Peyton Pritchard tonight. I think a lot of Blazer fans would have loved to see him in a Blazer uniform at some point, right? And it's interesting because, you know, there's guys who have come through, right? You got Drew Eubanks, you got Danny Ainge, North Eugene High School. He wore a Blazer uniform. Damon Stoudemire, probably the legend when it comes to that, right? The legend when it comes to being a former high school kid at Wilson, now Ida B. Wells, come through, play for the Blazers. A couple other who played their high school ball and played their college ball in Oregon and were Blazers. Steve Snapper Jones, Franklin High School, University of Oregon, and wore a Blazer uniform. Ime Udoka, Jefferson High School, Portland State, and wore a Blazer uniform. So kind of interesting notes there to talk about. So the deep pulls. Well, this was interesting because this came from a conversation a while back that we had because I was talking about the day that Shaden Sharp had 36 points off the bench, and it was the first time since Travis Outlaw did it, when the starters that night were Jarrett Jack, Fred Jones, Martell Webster, Rafe LaFrentz, and Jamal McGlure. Now, Fred Jones is another one. Sam Barlow High School, University of Oregon, and did wear a Blazer uniform. Also, shout out, he was in the house for the state championship a week ago to watch Barlow win their first ever men's basketball state championship. So there you go. The more you know as the world turns. But yeah, getting Shellstad in a Blazer uniform one day, if he makes the NBA, which he very well could, he has the talent there, it'll be awesome. And I do think somewhere down the line, if you got Peyton Pritchard, the pride of West Lynn, to come back to town, that'd be pretty awesome. That'd be pretty awesome. I always think it's fun, and you get a little bit more of it, Brendan. Just because you cover the Beavers, man. Like, it's cool. Like, how cool was it to watch, like Jaden Grant, right? Teammate of Peyton Pritchard, right, at West Lynn. He was teammate of him, won those state championships with him. Yeah, good friends, goes and does the walk-on thing at Oregon State. And I thought he was a wonderful defensive back for that team, a guy who was probably made his name a little bit on the basketball side, at least in high school, but worked his way up because he wanted to play football and ended up being a darn good cornerback for you guys. So it's always cool, especially for you. Again, you get to see more of it, but seeing those high school kids who grew up just up or down I-5, getting to show out for their home teams.
This is something that I've noticed, Chris, and maybe a little bit less so for Oregon as they've started to recruit more of a national footprint, and a few less, but still have their Central Catholic guys and whatnot on the roster. Like, I think of a guy like Jaden Grant. I don't know if Oregon State's had a guy with that much swagger in the defensive backfield since he graduated. Like Jaden Grant. And I'll name, I think of a guy like Jack Coletto, who went to Camas High School, who just brought the swagger, too. Like, I think these local kids that then go and play at Oregon State, it just means more to them. Maybe that's cliche, maybe not, but I think it just means more, especially when, you're like, oh, I grew up rooting for the Ducks, or I grew up rooting for the Beavers, and now I'm here. And, I think Jaden Grant, I think, he kind of admitted he grew up maybe rooting for the green and yellow a little bit more than the orange and black, but was ready for it, and, he made some, big-time plays. So I love that Oregonian kind of Pacific Northwest stay at home for college, man. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. You know what, though, Brendan? To bring this full circle, I think we're focusing too much on the players, right? Because we really need to bring a former Oregon high school athlete and bring them home on the sideline. Because I heard Eric Spoelstra is pretty good. Pretty good coach. I want to see that. I want to see that one
Pride
happen.
of UP, man.
I want to see that one
mean-
happen. Yeah, come on now. Bring him home, baby. Bring him home. That's Air Weldon just shouting out all sorts of names. Terrell Brandon, Oregon guys. Kyle Wilcher. You had Aaron Miles, right? Terrence Ross, who I would have loved Terrence Ross. Just one season to suit up in a Blazer uniform. Terrence Jones. God, there was a time when Jefferson High
Terrence
School.
Jones had like a brief minute with the Rams. He had a moment.
There was a time when Jefferson High School was just churning out pros, it felt like. Gosh, the demos ran the house for a minute there. So you can go down. You got the Kyle Singler for a minute. I mean, I know that's not a Jefferson guy, but obviously you guys haven't even mentioned Kevin Love. I mean, hello. So yeah, there's
It's true.
there's a list, man. They're churning them out. Man.
See, but if memory serves, Chris, I believe, and again, I was little, but I remember just hearing the story. Maybe we're not remembering him quite away because Kevin Love was not going to Oregon or Oregon State.
No, he wasn't
from what
even
I heard.
recruited by. He wasn't even touched by Ernie Kent.
Yeah, so it was like he was going to UCLA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or can we even talk about Klay Thompson, who was here until like high school or something like that? I remember we went down this rabbit hole before. So because Klay Thompson, Kevin Love were teammates at one point. So
Yeah, on some of their.
Pacific Northwest got some basketball talent, man. We do.
Hey, it's true. Don't sleep on the PNW,
Don't
Brendan.
sleep.
That's the point. But no, he was here and played some of his youth ball with Caleb, but he did go to high school. This is Klay Thompson in Rancho Santa Margarita. What a fun name. God, California's got great names.
They do. They really
Rancho
do.
Cucamonga. That's awesome. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here, though, on game day. When we come back, it's time for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to get a win over the Boston Celtics? We'll let you know here on the backside of the break. All in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Hey, Kirk, thanks. Which one? See, does he work out up in Vancouver? Does he work out in Gresham? Because that's the one my wife works at. I'm gonna have to tell her to be on the lookout. He was also at the state championship game, though. He was there, rubbing some elbows. And gosh, I love Martell, guys. I love Martell. He has one of my favorite jump shots of all time. I don't know why. It was just jumped up, got so high. It just looked so good. I loved Martell Webster. But yeah, those are good names too, Air Weldon. And we were talking about different names that were, like I said, that was from a social media post. Someone was asking about guys who had played in Oregon and played for the Blazers. But let's see, NBA players from the state of Oregon. I had this list here. But there's good ones. It's just the list of them who played for the Blazers. It's pretty low. I mean, technically you got one right now, though. Jeremy Grant, right? Jeremy Grant. No, it's interesting because, again, I find it a little different. I'm counting kids who played their high school in Oregon, but you do have Cole Anthony, who was born in Oregon, so there you go. Hey, Dan Dickow. You can count Dan Dickow as a Northwest kid. There you go. That's Gosh, that was my nickname when we'd play. Kobe Stopper was one. You guys know that. But then I also got the Dan Dickow status because I'd go average like 2 points per game. Now he went to Brush Prairie High School in Brush Prairie, Washington. So he's not a Portland kid, but he's a PNW kid. So we'll give him that one. Who else we got? That's where'd my list go? No, Dan Dickow was fun though. He was fun. Obviously, yeah, there's Jeremy Grant. Isaiah Hartenstein is one too. That's born here. Demonis Sabonis, right? Nigel Williams-Goss, we remember that guy. So, you know. There you go. Now let's look up Oregon High School. Yeah, where's he? Was he Seattle? Okay, I was like, what? No, I was trying. If you want to go PNW, well, I was only stretched to the PMW because I had to count. You got to pay some respect to Dan Dickow, right? There you go. There you go. You also got now. If you look at now that was just players. The names I was listening to Sengo were born in Oregon. Now if you go through players who played in Oregon, play their high school hoops here, you do got guys like we haven't talked about AC Green, right? There's a legend. He went to Benson. Mike Dunleavy, son of the coach. Michael Doliak, Central Catholic. Mel Counts, Marshfield, also the home of Steve Prefontaine. Obviously, we already talked about Terrell Brandon, Fred Jones, Terrence Jones, got Aaron Miles. Yeah. Salim Stoudemire, Lake Oswego. We remember Salim. Ime. Legend, Mike James, absolute legend from Grant High School. And right now, Kyler Kelly from Jervis. There's one. There's some names. Yeah, no, absolutely. But they're going to age me. The kids aren't aging me. They're keeping me young. So, yeah, once again, keys to the game today. Contain Peyton Pritchard because he likes to go off against the Portland Trail Blazers. Averages over 16 points against them, the most against any opponent in his career. Get Scoot involved a little more in that assist game, and he obviously needs to keep those turnovers down. 4 assists, 5 turnovers ain't gonna cut it. Give me 6 assists, 2 turnovers, I'll be happy, right? And then you need everyone outside of Denny Avdia to get it going. Denny has been absolutely phenomenal. He has kind of separated himself from Tumani a little bit in my eyes as the MVP of the team this year. But against a team like Boston, you need everybody to step up and everybody to shoot the ball well. Everybody to find the net. That's what you need to do tonight. That's tonight. I don't know. You think it can get any crazier than it got for you a few nights ago against Denver, Brendan?
There's some more players available tonight. I'm curious to still see what the sleuthing is, but I don't think it can be any weirder than that. And I think the Blazers will be plenty motivated to play Boston in the sense of that game might, even with Pritchard and White going off, the Blazers were still in that game. I think they're going to have this one circled.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole road trip, too. I mean, even this game coming up against Cleveland, like that's a team that they played well, right? So, it's gonna be interesting. Portland's gonna have to work regardless, but it's always fun to see Peyton Pritchard come in. Hopefully, the young kid has a good game and the Blazers win. That's all we want. All right, we're going to get out of here, though, but don't go anywhere because coming up next across the Trailblazers Audio Network, Chad Doing will have your Trailblazers pregame show. And then your radio voice of the Trailblazers, Travis Demers, will take over at 3 o'clock for Blazers versus Celtics, all right here on Rip City Radio. And as always, when it's all said and done, keep it locked in for the 5th quarter where hopefully we're breaking down a Trailblazers victory. Oh, man. Let's get in here. Let's get to the play-in. I want at least one extra game. It all starts tonight against the Celtics. Rip City, I'll talk to you after the game.